closed it in. But it's not finished. Heat the patio? Do you have a regular patio? Well, you know, they got them ventless stuff that you can just take out. Ventless heaters. And they also have, I personally like them vented, but they have one that blows right out the wall. You'd be better with the vented, because to me, what did you learn about fire? Fire burns and takes your oxygen. So venting is safer. Dan, your place looks good. I didn't see the permit in the window though. Fiddler was there today. Well, are you doing that roof so that you can walk on it or anything? No, it's just going to be a roof. There's no opening there, is there? Did they have stairs that went up to it? Depends on who your neighbor is, I guess, you know. I haven't been in my pool once this year.
Really?
Not one time.
It's warm enough out.
So I can't because of my surgery.
Oh yeah.
Not allowed.
Oh, that sucks.
It does. Maybe after October 10th.
Yeah.
Maybe. Give me 50 business cards to next week or so. I'll put them in the grab bags at Summerfest. That's how, we put stuff in. We'll throw,
I got them in the car. I'll give them to you.
Yeah, I need like 50 of them.
That's cool. No, absolutely.
If you know any other business that wants to advertise something, business card, key, chain, pen, we need 50s. Just give me 50s,
50?
whatever. I don't care who it is, what organization.
Fire 716. I'm definitely going to our radio. It's our hub.
Yeah, so, we'll put it, I'm just throw them in the grab bag,
Right.
You get one out of it, you did good.
Right.
And God knows business cards don't cost anything. So.
No, especially when you're making an Office Depot.
Oh, you're doing Office Depot?
Yeah,
I always did them online.
What's that?
I always did them online.
Oh, yeah?
Vistaprint.
Yeah, I know. They started costing a little more than I like. What's going on, my brother? Hey, you got business cards, right, for Fire 716? All right, when you get a chance, I'm going to need about 50 of them. My guy, he has the grab bags that they do for the event that he does. And he's going to promote local businesses and stuff through that way. Well, actually, I'm at City Council now. That's what I'm talking to.
I think that's the guy from the MFHA. Yeah, okay.
Hey, Dave.
I don't know. You should,
You might grab bags for Summerfest.
You can bring them tonight. Then
I
that's
get
one
grab
thing.
bags. If your brother wants to give me like 50 business cards or
Okay.
pens or
Okay.
keychains,
No,
50 is the
Okay.
number.
Oh yeah, community happens. I gotta remember that.
All right, bro.
And that,
He does have a presentation. He has some stuff for you to speak to him.
Is he gonna be part of the presenter portion?
He said he's gonna be, he said he'd be presenting and he has his stuff.
Can we put him on there?
I don't know. Does it have to be, does the presenter have to be?
We'd have to ask Chris. I don't know that
Yeah.
answer. I don't know if a presenter.
He already has.
Or since it's a part of an agenda item, can he be part of the administrative update section?
Hey, why can't he just speak on the agenda items? Is he longer than 5
Maybe one
minutes?
day at a time.
There you go. That's it. Dave,
Because we can't ask him questions, I guess.
is it an agenda item?
Yeah.
What I thought
Yeah, the
today was going to be
MFHA
a little
number
bit more
6.
lit.
Right.
The painting of the streets, I think it's number 6.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, he can speak during the agenda thing. No? We can reply and rebut. We just don't.
Right.
We
I
can.
just want to open up that can of worms.
Well, it's kind of in the rules.
Well, how
and the
many
guidelines.
questions would we have for him? What do you think?
There was only like 3 or 4.
Just wanted to be sure what measures did they take so that we don't have the same issues that we did at Main and
Yeah.
Chasm.
Maybe
How can
before he starts speaking, you say, could you
Can you
cover
address
these
this?
topics?
That'd be a great idea.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Just do it that way. And can you cover these?
Well, I think he's also got some information he wants to hand out to us.
How's it going?
Well, handouts,
Oh, there we go.
So, there's a gentleman here to present for item number 6.
Item number 6, good morning.
Oh, excuse me, Dante?
Where is this? Why can't I recognize
We
this?
never vote on them coming
orders Pearson made?
His only problem was the mayor. We had asked the mayor some questions. He said, "Oh, there's going to be someone here to answer them."
Oh, the Y
Typically,
coffee shop.
when they talk, we don't ask the president's
Right,
questions.
it's during your legislative session.
Right.
Probably could, but you guys, maybe want to take a quick vote, amend your,
To add him as a presenter.
yeah, yeah, the presenter.
Okay. Does that work for everyone?
I wonder if
Just
anybody
so we
talked.
can ask him questions if
I'm
anyone
okay with
has
that.
any.
I wonder if they talked to the property owner.
Well, see, that's why we need to be able to dialogue.
Say what again? What was that? Oh yeah. Exactly.
We'll make a motion to add him as a presenter. Vote on it, and as he presents, we can ask him questions on the side. Is that fair?
Yes, I'm okay with that.
We don't have any questions on field instead of him going up there and presenting.
That is the only real, I mean, Brainerd was closed. Been closed for a long time. But this is a busy building. This is a park. This is, well, that's kind of the park that's, there's a parking lot facing out to West Road. It doesn't affect construction. No, it doesn't affect the parking, but it's all another reason to get people to congestion.
I guess the
Working.
problem
That's a
is-
busy park. No, I was laughing. I was driving past
So,
the White or the
see, there's
Conservation
multiple,
Commission.
places that they're proposing, and there's only one open. Oh, what's the one?
This is it.
Oh, this is the one?
They were gonna do one in Michigan, and then one
Just get the T-bone there. By the connection.
Oh, okay, but those are taken out, it's just this one? So, yeah, I guess that's my question is how can we ensure that it won't be, it won't be any traffic,
That's a
it'll be
busy,
safe?
busy corner.
Yeah, right? Okay, so. What?
no, I just saying. I just
So I just asked Scott, and
could have stepped outside.
daughter said bye, and they walked out.
Oh,
I mean, he comes back in. I mean,
well then I can't, then I don't wanna vote on it. Yeah, then I don't wanna vote on it unless. Okay.
That's what I'm tabling it.
Yeah, yeah, he's not here.
Maybe
And do it right.
Maybe if
Give more time. If he's here, he'll be here. Yeah.
Maybe he's only
Step down for a second.
Well,
Anybody got a number?
if he's not here at the start of the meeting for us to add him, then it's
maybe he's
tabled.
going in the bush.
Then it's tabled,
I don't think I have Solomon number.
okay? Cause I think we gotta start.
serious question.
Yeah. You can put that on, at his.
I mean, should have had this well before. That's just not.
Yeah, because Scott said his daughter said bye, and they walked out.
I might have Solomon.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff. That's just not.
I mean, not that I think it is.
Not over here.
Is he? Okay, he's here. So we'll make Tracy. He's here, so we'll make the motion when it comes to the presentation. Good to go. Call the meeting to order. Call the roll.
Councilmember Bax? Here. Councilmember Cawley? Here. Councilmember Miles?
Here.
Councilmember Tompkins? Here. Council Chairman Zajac?
Here. Please rise for the prayer and the pledge. Lord, today we ask your calming love in a time of uncertainty, chaos, and turbulence in our state, our country, and in our world. We ask for your guidance as we look to make decisions that affect all we have sworn to uphold and defend. Direct our thoughts, words, decisions, and actions toward the right path and to help us stay on track. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, he's here.
Mr. Chairman, before we begin, I guess I guess we need a motion to amend the agenda for a speaker, actually, at the beginning. Okay.
Second.
Do I need to vote? Right, yes, for now.
Councilmember Bax?
Yes.
Councilmember Cawley?
Yes.
Councilmember Miles? Yes. Councilmember Tompkins?
Yes.
Council Chairman Zajac?
Yes.
This motion has been approved.
And the speaker is, I guess he's going to cover item number 6 on the agenda, and it's Saladin Allah.
To 113 10th Street. I'm here to speak on behalf of item number 6. It is the North End Triangle project. Hold on for a second. So I'm the project coordinator for the Niagara Falls National Heritage Area. Our organization has been at the forefront of public art and cultural initiatives here in the city of Niagara Falls. In 2021, we received about a $25,000 grant from Bloomberg Philanthropies. And with that grant, we were given an opportunity to do an asphalt mural project. This was an annual grant that over 200 different cities actually applied for. The city of Niagara Falls is one of 26 cities that actually received this grant. When we received that grant in 2021, Eric Cooper was the head of planning at that time, and we strived to coordinate with him all throughout 2021. Eventually, Joshua Green took that position. So since 2021, we've been striving to coordinate with the city in regards to striving to get this asphalt mill project done. You have to sit down, sweetie. Have a seat right there. Have a seat right there. Now, in order to do this project, it takes coordination from various different city departments. The information that I share with all of you gives you insight into what we've been striving to coordinate for the last couple of years. One of the things that was a concern on behalf of the city of Niagara Falls is with this asphalt mural project, the first phase is going to be a mural that is on site where the Y Coffee Shop is, also in front of the Niagara Falls Public Library. Now, the goal with public art in terms of asphalt mural projects is to not only make our communities more pedestrian-centric, but it's also designed to promote safety and a walkable community. Instead of just telling cars to slow down, you can actually create art. You have to sit down, sweetie. Sit down. You can actually create art and put flex posts around the art to protect it in order to encourage community members to respect more of the pedestrians that are in that community, especially in proximity to a local library and a school. Also, it promotes economic development in that area as well. As a National Heritage Area, we're also responsible for the murals that you see around the city. One of the ones that we completed was one on Sammy's Pizzeria. And as you can see, the artist that did the mural on Sammy's Pizzeria, she also did the mural of Sel Magley, a couple of businesses down from there. So we've been able to promote art and to make this community a little bit more safer as well as beautify. Sit down. Okay, excuse me. So yes, I just wanted to answer some of the questions that you may actually have about the mural project in terms of installation or anything else that you would have for our organization. Okay.
They did this basically down by Chatham, Maine, down in that area, where Lewiston Road starts, just at the end of Main Street.
We're not affiliated with that organization that did that actual project.
Over there, and it was a nightmare because they narrowed the lane so much that cars had, you couldn't put two like dump trucks past each other there. You couldn't put stuff back there. It really impacted the drivers, and it was kind of a plane. And all their flexible pylons got destroyed, basically. I mean, I'm very familiar with in front of the Y Coffee Shop, and looking at it, just looking at your picture, I don't know the actual dimension. It looks like it kind of goes out there far, and I've seen cars that actually, try and do that U and come right around the Gospel Rescue Mission there. Is it going to be, some sort of a hindrance in some ways too?
Because, like I mentioned, we received this grant in 2021, and that was one of the main concerns with the city in terms of our plow trucks, traffic, and we were able to get the approval of planning department, other different departments, as well as DPW, and as well as the engineering department. In the information that you have there, we also have the actual dimensions of this mural. So this, keep in mind, is just the first phase of 3 murals that we're going to be doing in this triangle. The first is just in front of the Y Coffee Shop, as well as the public library. The other mural is going to be at the corner of where Abbott Elementary School is and Lockport Road and 11th Street. And then the third one is going to be over by Trot Access Building and the Transportation Center. So in terms of the season that we're dealing with right now, we're only striving to complete just phase 1. And then once we complete phase 1, we'll move into phase 2 and phase 3 once the weather subsides.
Well, the other group communicated with the city, and I know it was a big issue because it was so tight, but, if you're talking to the right people, that's all you can ask.
Concerns. I mean, overall, I'm all about murals. And making things vibrant in the city. I know that space is such a weird. That 3-way, it's already kind of weird with the traffic, and I think maybe one of the concerns that I may have is if I'm taking my eyes off of what's in front of me, traffic signs and whatnot, to admire the beauty of the art that's on the ground. Like our traffic counts show that most of the foot traffic is when the kids are getting out of school, they're coming out of the library. For me, it's really about safety. I think that's so for me, not like really knowing and having I'm not really versed in that type of study, but my concern would be more so as far as the safety of the kids. Would taking my eyes off of I'm talking about the ground. Like when we're looking up at murals, we're looking straight ahead, so our sights are already on what's in front of us. But if I'm looking in my car and I'm looking down, I may not necessarily, and I'm not talking about me. I think I'm a pretty decent driver, but I'm talking about someone who may not be as good, but they're admiring what's going on. They're looking on the ground, and maybe they could be holding up traffic, or possibly a kid could be coming across the street, and it's like, oh, that's nice. You know what I mean? It's one of those things. It's like, so I don't know if you guys have something in place that could, kind of relieve that for me.
One of the things, if you look at the actual rendering, not only do you see the dimensions, we actually have a bus that shows you a bus actually navigating that space. Across the street from the public library, you also see a mural that's in the center of the street. That's known as an island. And what that is for that very reason. Usually, it's a long walk for someone to get across that particular area, but to actually put an island there is protective, not only for children, but also people who may have a wheelchair or other different disabilities, where it gives them an opportunity to stop in the middle and then to make it over across the other side as well.
Discussions with DPW and the planning board, have they seen this, and are they on board with the overall plan?
So you're the last ones who are looking at this right now since 2021. So we've been working on this for 2 years in terms of getting aligned with all of the departments. And once we were working with Eric Cooper, who was the head of planning at one point, and he took a position somewhere else, Josh Green took that position, and we had to go around again with getting the approvals and everybody being informed about what we're actually doing. We just completed this circle again with Kevin Forma, and then now it's actually before you to look at it as well. So again, we've been doing this for about the last 2 years in terms of making sure that all of our T's are crossed and our I's are dotted.
And I got to go back to the safety concern, because what would be this? Because obviously, no, you can't do this type of work at nighttime with less traffic. So I'm assuming it's going to be broad daylight, summertime. I mean, you got people in the. I love murals. I really appreciate art. I can't draw stick people, but if I'm doing these murals in the middle of the street in broad daylight, I mean, that's traffic. I mean, what was the feedback of saying, how are we going to protect our muralists? How are we going to keep the flow of traffic going? What was that design? Is there something there that we could read?
Blocking off areas where we're working. Also, we have a rendering or design that we already created, and we're also going to have stencils that allows community members to participate in the application of this mural. It's only going to take maybe a few days, as long as we get some weather like we've had, over the last month. So it's not a long, drawn-out process in order to actually install the murals, because we've already did the work up front in terms of getting everything organized, all the departments together, as well as one of our lead artists, Tyshawn Tyson, who is the one who actually created the renderings that's going to manage the volunteers who are going to be installing the artwork.
So the timeline for this, you're thinking a few days? Is that what the?
At most. If we get nice weather for like 3 days, it's going to be done.
Our vote, what in your mind, our vote today, when do you think you'd be started? When do you think that would get started?
Yesterday. We're looking to start installing it in September, so that we can have this done and complete, within the month of September. We're actually coordinating, working on some murals as well, in collaboration with the Niagara Falls School District as well. So we wanted to make sure we at least get this first mural installed. And like I said, we got the grant 2 years ago, and the Bloomberg's Philanthropies, they've worked with cities in many different occasions, and they look at the city of Niagara Falls, and they're kind of like, when are we going to do this? When are we going to get it done? And we've had to consistently let them know, like, we've had changes in our administration. We have a lot of things going on. The weather's not the same in California, so like I said, we're looking to do the installation within September.
Very quick questions. The first is there a theme or an overall message that's behind the artwork that will be displayed? Yeah.
The artwork itself is going to be pretty generic. Usually when you have portraiture murals, you usually have expert muralists who do that type of work. The ones that you see in this information are just very colorful. A child her age will be able to participate in helping out with the murals, and we wanted to make it as easy and simple as possible, and for people to be able to have an opportunity to collaborate in this project.
That you're partnering with the with the younger residents here to help with that. My second question is about the lifespan of the murals. How long is the lifespan of these once they're down, and does your organization help to maintain or spruce them back up when that's needed?
So we thought about handing you the bill, but no. No, so all of our murals are varnished with a protective coating. With the asphalt murals, that's also something that we do. So we're looking at, even considering the weather that we have, having a sense of sustainability at least a couple of years, and we also have budgeted in for us to be able to upkeep the murals, as well as some of the flex posts as well, to be able to replace those.
To the Greater Buffalo Niagara Regional Transportation Council, just so we can see how, so we can get an understanding of the traffic flow. And because the biggest thing for me, even when reading it, I understand with Believer Bond, that area, when they did that, that's just a crosswalk from across the street going into the school area. I guess this part with me that's kind of making me nervous is just this three-way. It's really it's weird. It's already kind of a weird situation anyway. I'm just going to be 100 with you. So, well, five-way. I'm thinking of coming out this way, and then there's coming right from the Y coffee shop. So
That's already been problematic. And the goal with this project is to actually make it more safe, to slow the traffic down. Instead of telling people slow down, we're going to create a way to slow people down. What was your other question about the transportation?
that was the main thing. It's just like because we know it's a lot of kid traffic that way, from library, from Abbott School. It's one of those things where I'm kind of like, man, you know what I mean? If it was just a crosswalk going from, across the street, across like a straight line, but we're talking, excuse me, we're talking about like an area that can get really congested a lot. But I'm hearing what you're saying as well. You're saying pretty much that, it can slow the traffic down, and I'm just worried about somebody who's not paying attention to while they're driving, looking at the murals, and then all of a sudden that happens. Then we're reactive. You know what I'm saying? And so I mean, that's, as a father, I got kids. It's one of those type of things that
One of the things, if you look at other different cities in terms of the way that streets or things are designed, the engineers, they design things in such a way where they may not have to necessarily put signage up to tell people to slow down, or there's children playing. They may shorten roads, or they may do other little things in order to communicate that to people, so that they naturally begin to go along with what it is that they're literally designing. So for example, when you look at down at the end of Lewiston Road, where now there's a stop sign that was put there. Before, there was no stop sign there at all, right? It's that one stop sign out of all of the other different areas that you can drive down. That's deliberately created in order to slow traffic. That usually would just fly right past there and not even consider that particular neighborhood, So in doing this project, we selected that particular area because of all of the same concerns as everybody else. And instead of just telling people, like, you need to slow down, this is an area where we have residents and children, we wanted to create something beautiful that will slow people down, that at the same time, they will start seeing the importance of making things a little bit more pedestrian-centric, as opposed to just flying through that area. They won't literally be able to do that anymore,
Question. So, Councilmember Tompkins mentioned the project up further on Chasm and Lewiston Road. I understand you're completely separate. My question would be, how married to these flexible posts is this project?
It's important to be able to have them, not only just for the protection of the murals themselves and the longevity of the murals, but again, also to make the area more pedestrian-centric, so that as cars are driving, they're going to be encouraged to recognize these areas that they can't just fly through at a certain type of speed. So those flex posts, they're very malleable, meaning if someone were to knock one of them down, they're easily replaceable. But it's designed, like I said, to kind of corral traffic, as opposed to having these wide areas where people could just drive through. Now they're going to have to be a little bit more considerate on how they actually navigate these spaces that's close to a school as well as our public library.
So, and I can appreciate all of that. If, in the kind of the similar thing again, the other project, if they became a hindrance, would there be an issue to take them down?
What do you mean by hindrance?
The former project that was over there, same murals on the ground. Obviously, again, I know a different company did. I think that was the state that did it. But the problem with the dividers was they just made the road so narrow, and driving that way frequently as I do, it almost felt less safer than what it was with just the normal road. And I know I was getting resident calls from people that live over there or that drive that way for work, that it just didn't make sense of why they were so far out. And I don't think those ones, did it make the winter? Did that?
They started out in the winter and they didn't make the whole winter. Go Bike did them.
Yeah, go by. Thank you. Yeah. So, I mean, if it got to a point where any of us or the administration got enough resident concern or complaint on it, and we came to you and said, you know, we love the murals, but we got to get rid of the soft cones.
One of the parts of this project as well is the community engagement component. So we've already done some of that work in terms of engaging the community and getting their input on this project as well. So we didn't do things backwards. It seems to me with that project, there was no community engagement component at all. Because if there was, they would know that that was a concern to begin with, and they would have addressed that to begin with before they even implemented putting those murals there. You see? We've already put that work in, and in terms of those flex posts, if it is a safety issue, we can figure out a more safer way to be able to not only protect those murals, but also to continue being able to create an environment where cars will be corralled in a safe way to make it pedestrian-centric. So the answer is yes. But like I said, the community engagement part of it is something that we do with all of our public murals that we do. We don't just go and put paint on the cement or on the wall. We make sure we get input from our community and make sure that our community is involved in everything that we do from the beginning.
There's two businesses there over there. One's closed, and then of course the Y Coffee Shop building with multiple businesses there. If you've ever been there, you know how tight parking is up to the corners all the way around it, on all four sides there. Is it going to affect any of the parking spaces over there? Will people actually be parking on the mural, or? Because I mean, it seems like the parking goes pretty close to every corner, right where the turns are. Or at least, whether it's legal or not, you see a lot of cars there all the time. Because, you know, if you've ever gone to the Y, or back in the day, if you went to Bramer's, you know, parking was always tight in that particular area.
Well, if you look at the rendering that we have with all of the dimensions of the murals, you'll notice that where the murals actually are is not a place where people park anyway. If you look at right in front of the Y Coffee Shop, people don't park there at all. So we made sure.
They're literally right around the corner. I mean, even in your picture, it shows a car pretty close to the turn of the corner. And they're that way on both sides, and then, of course, on both of the opposite sides, too.
That's why I said if you look at the actual dimensions, it shows you exactly where the murals will start and where they will end, where people are not, by law, allowed to park. Exactly.
I just don't want to see them because, did you guys talk to the building owners?
Oh, yeah.
Out of courtesy?
2021.
Okay. Okay.
Well, I speak for myself. It's not that I'm against the mural at all. The thing about it is that, you know, we're just getting it. And along with the 27 agenda item, you know, it's a decision that we're asked to make in one night. And it's kind of like, so that's the reason why we're gonna, so, you know, I understand the community engagement. I'm all about community engagement, you know. But when it comes to the table and it's like, okay, we have to vote on this, it's kind of like, if we don't have that kind of time, we didn't have the, it hasn't been presented to us where we can go home and digest it and actually kind of like really think about it and get the questions out. I think like, you know, like some type of forum, whatever the case is, or being brought to us as a body prior to. So now it's like, so we're here, so that's the reason why we're asking. So it's not that, we don't think that you guys did your due diligence in reaching out to the community. It's just that we have to make a decision, but we just don't want to make a split shot decision and really not really get, you know, because it's our heart and our guts. So if we do it and something happens to one of these babies, then it's going to be on us too. You know what I'm saying? So, and not saying that, you know, the studies is wrong or I don't believe that it could slow down traffic or whatever the case is. It's just that before I make a decision that actually, you know, I feel some kind of way about the safety, I just want to make sure that that's comforted within myself before I say yay or nay to anything. You know what I mean? That's just.
That are provided, are they national or are they relative to this area?
They're national.
National.
So that is based upon Bloomberg Philanthropies projects at numerous different cities around the country and the work that they've been doing.
Things I had was community engagement. So you mentioned before you talked to the building owners. What other steps were taken to engage the community to get them involved? What else was going on?
Because of this process and working with the city planning department and striving to get alignment with the other different departments, we've had to be put on hold with the maximum amount of community engagement that we could actually do, because we had to get actual approval first. So prior to that, between 2021, 2023, I've been talking to neighbors within that community themselves, the public library, you know, right within that core area where this triangle is going to be at. In terms of more community engagement, once we get the actual approval, we're going to be going door to door, talking to more residents, getting their input, as well as their agreement to participate in a project like this. So.
That's good? Okay. Thank you for your time, sir. Thanks.
All right.
Speakers on the agenda item?
Okay. Agenda item number, that was. Yes, yeah. Jennifer Lamoy, and she will be speaking on all the items.
First and foremost, with respect to the controller's report, I'm hopeful, obviously, since it's an item on the agenda today, that it's enlarged. Many constituents believe that facts and figures are being hidden from constituents when you can't take a picture from your seat, and if you get up to take one, then you might be escorted out. Additionally, I love the fact that we only have 2 officers here compared to 5 as usual, because constituents are concerned about taxpaying money being spent on unneeded representation from the Niagara Falls Police Department here when, you know, there's no one being attacked, so to speak. With respect to the items from the mayor here, and I'm not attacking the mayor, so you don't need to gavel me, because, I mean, I've gotten enough criticism even running for an office. The names that I've been called, I didn't even want to come here today. It's not even worth preparing to speak in front, and I can see why the turnout is so low. Things are different than they used to be. I'm called a circus when I stand up here, and the inappropriate names I've been called, uncalled for, but that's not on the agenda, is it? But there are items on the agenda that are using the American Rescue funds that were actually supposed to be for the community. When is anyone going to come and rescue Niagara Falls, New York? Is it ever going to be the way it used to be? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No matter who gets in office, I'm told to come to terms with the fact that who won the primary is going to be who gets in office, and, you know, really pretty much everybody else is wasting their time. Do you notice that I'm not going with any of the agenda items, and you haven't gavelled me, Chairman? Did you see? Because the mayor's not present. But if I go off on a tangent, then people say, here she go, or individuals that are up on the position in the office say they look at the people's face that are in attendance, and people don't want to hear what people have to say.
I wasn't not interrupting you for that fact. I was just hoping you're going to bring it back to one point. So if you can please bring it back to the agenda items. If you're going to speak on all of them, feel free, but please at least reference some agenda items.
Did you see what just happened there? There was a little bit of dialogue. If more of that could occur, then more people would turn out, right? In fact, I was even thinking yesterday, why didn't they just send a text, like these unnecessary city texts from the administration? Send a text and have the council meeting be held on a date that's not so hot and humid, right? Almost 90 coming here this evening. But that's okay, I'm not complaining. I'm just saying.
Get on to an agenda item, please.
Oh, sure. Thank you for the dialogue. Just see again, purposely I do things. I'm not a circus, okay? Because I'm being told that you're staring off when I speak here and that I'm a personal circus here. This is entertainment. I don't come here to entertain anyone. I'm not getting paid to speak here.
Thank you.
Just letting you know, there's a purpose why I say such, obviously. it's interesting how my friend can do a presentation and be question on with respect to something, but if we go on to that and we're looking out for the babies of ours, and we don't want anyone to get and this is important because this does touch on the agenda items as well, is that I do live on one of the streets that's being conducted by New York State, not the city, so to speak, and the response time for the unfortunate incident a week ago today made the garbage individuals think that our garbage was Thursday pickup, not Wednesday, because our garbage was delayed a day because the garbage truck could not come down when the little girl. That's what I'm saying. First and foremost, it should have been that day or the very next day, administration or even city council, to stress, do not use cell phones while you're in the city of Niagara Falls, even as chairman, And if you want, here, go back and forth with dialogue, because we had a little girl that unfortunately passed away, but credit should have been given right in the beginning of this meeting, is credit to the AMR and to our firemen. And I know there were some promotions, and I'm hopeful that those individuals that brought her back were promoted. Because you know what? She's fighting for her life, as is the man out in LaSalle. And again, you see what I'm saying? We are purchasing a 2023 black Dodge Charger fleet vehicle. When you put that in there, you got to always look and research the backup paperwork, $38,000, you see, okay? And then here, retaining another attorney, etc. Well, how much money were we paying to the attorneys for handling other stuff, right? We never pressed that issue. And when I sat here, when that was discussed, and good that I got to mention all this here, I questioned that attorney, said, this young lady here had the nerve to ask me how much I get paid, and he couldn't even tell me his pay, okay? No one knows how much they get paid when they go to the bank and cash their check or have a direct deposit or what have you. See, none of these are as important as what I just stated.
Okay. Controller's report?
Nothing tonight from me. It's been a busy week with the filing another quarterly report with the Treasury. Spent all week getting that wrapped up. So unfortunately nothing tonight, but I'll have something for the next meeting.
Do you want to do a part of the administrative update? If you just want. Okay. We had spoke yesterday about an update on Granicus, if anyone had questions on it or information. So I know a couple council members have asked that. So Mr. Mazur's here. Do you have any questions regarding Granicus? Oh, I'm sorry. Things over here. For an update on Granicus, if there isn't anything that Mr. Mazur has that answers your question, he said feel free to reach out to him and he will follow up with you regarding Granicus.
I was hoping something tonight handed out.
He has information. So if you have questions for him, he will answer them. If there's something he doesn't have an answer for, he will reach out to you and provide it.
In terms of just general, one is what is the function of Granicus and what is their function for the city? Let's just start with the basic. I don't know if we're asking questions now or we just wait. Yeah. Okay.
Just generally, what they do is they monitor actually they kind of oversee the whole process of the short-term rental registration that we have, and we created the ordinance back in early 2022. It was passed and it went into effect, and Granicus essentially is it's an organization that will, it's digitized the process as it relates to registration and the renewals of the registrations for the short-term rentals. They process information from the individual property owners is uploaded into the system. They create a database for it. It can be, essentially it's a dashboard that we have access to. They can see various items relating to each individual properties. They maintain that. Then the individuals, when they either apply for a license or they renew a license, upload information to Granicus, to which they then process send it back to the city department, the code enforcement department for approvals as it relates to the various items that they need regarding the condition of the building, where it's at, and things like that. Granicus also it's a continuing process them with regard to they monitor the listings for the short-term rentals to see if the ones that are registered or not registered are actually listed as an active short-term rental. That's way the city could use that to track violations and initiate court proceedings against and we have some court proceedings now that are going into the court process at the moment that are dealing with individuals who are either outside of the zone or, in this case, not registered and not licensed at this time.
Do they send a report through your office, or do they send a report directly to code enforcement in terms of?
It's not necessarily more. Well, when you talk about the license, when an individual property owner licensed something, that's a report that would go back to the code enforcement department. But when it's just generally we have access to, like I said, it's a dashboard and it has a number of different items on it where they control or they actually acquire the data for us that we have access to, that we can go in and look at different things.
So what are some of the KPIs that are on that dashboard that are being presented?
Location of the properties, they have whether, regarding the status of the licenses, they have information whether or not if they've been cited for violations. We can keep a track of whether or not there are reports that people maybe complain about something. All those things are on there. Whether the listings are active or they're not active. It keeps track of when the registrations went into effect. It's a number. It's probably about 15 or 20 different things that are on the actual dashboard.
Just share with us maybe just a summary of, because I know one of the issues or problems we had that we were looking to address through Granicus was the illegal operators that were out there, those who were operating either without a license or in violation of code enforcement. How has that been going? What has Granicus done, and what have been some of the results?
Well, what they do is, for number one, they have it's an access to a hotline. So if someone has information that such and such a property on, let's say, 85th Street, something that's outside the zone, that this is being used as a short-term rental. That information is then passed on to the city departments, and we can go then look into whether or not that is in fact true. They also have information, and one of the things that they have is they're able to monitor all of the basic websites that are used for short-term rental, the advertising, whether it's Verbo or whether or not it's whatever they might be. So they can look at those and they monitor them, and they actually take information that's off of those sites, and they can say again the 85th Street property. So if someone's advertising that, they take snapshots of the information that's actually on the listings. They can put that in their system so that when we prosecute these cases, there's already pictures in the system that are uploaded that have the data regarding that particular property that's in there, that we can access it. And then they also have information relating to when the actual listings are in. And then they can in turn find out whether or not someone is, because that's the real issue, whether or not someone's actually listing them as a short-term rental. It doesn't necessarily mean that someone's actually in it, but if it's being listed as an active property. So they can take that information, and that's what we have access to in the dashboard to follow through on that. And that's what we would use in the prosecution of the cases in housing court.
About this whole short-term rental zoning, STR zone. I don't think that short-term rentals throughout the city was our worst problem that we had in the city of Niagara Falls in the first place. So that's just my disclaimer. I've talked to professionals who said this company has done really much of nothing. It hasn't really been, and for me, I'm gonna be honest, I felt like, the message that was sent in regards to us hiring them, the city hiring them, is to get rid of all of the illegal short-term rentals and so on and so forth. So, I mean, I'm kind of in the, I understand that you're saying this is what they do, but I'm like, okay, now I'm looking for numbers. I want to see exactly what have they done, because from people who are professionals in the city workers, I've asked them the same question, and they're saying this company has done absolutely. It's really not doing much of what it was promoted to do. Because the biggest problem, from what we heard, when short-term rentals, I mean, of course, after 20 months of, you know, into the 2020 term, that was the big thing: short-term rentals. We have a big problem with short-term rentals, and we have people from one corner of the city talking about short-term rentals. So when this company is brought forward, I'm thinking that, okay, if they're very versed and they're very good at what they do, and if that's what was promoted, as if this company is going to actually help us get rid of illegal short-term rentals, like I said, which is not really necessarily the biggest problem we have, and we got so many other problems. But if we're hiring and we're paying tax dollars to this company to handle that business, I want numbers. I don't want really what it is that, you know, the formula of what they do and how they do it and what it is that they're supposed to do. Okay, it's been about a year later, close to, if not, right? So I think my question is okay, so what is the data? I want the data of, okay, so how many have they gotten rid of as far as illegal short-term rentals? Because if that number is still the same as it was last year, then it's like I'm having a problem thinking about continuously dealing with this company. If they're gonna, and these are our tax dollars, you see what I'm saying? So I guess I'm looking for more so for data, not exactly how they do it. It's okay to see how a machine works, but I want to see the results of that machine working.
I agree with him. I'd like to see the numbers on how many, between code shutting down and you guys in law, how many have been prosecuted, where we're at. Like I say, it's about a year or so, and it'd be kind of curious to see if the company we're paying, because they made it out like, we can get stuff and you'd have pretty much a airtight case to go in and get them shut down. I'd be kind of curious to see how many we've actually been able to shut down.
Well, the issue is, and part of the issue is, again, and I understand what you're saying, Councilman, but the issue is Granicus kind of sets the table. I mean, they provide a service that we don't really have the capability to do. I mean, I don't think we don't have someone that's going to be able to go and monitor these things like they do. So that's one element of it. With regard to the housing court portion, we just, during this past last year, we've just coming out of COVID and just getting court processes going back and doing things in a normal sense that like we would normally do it at housing court. We've just got back into gear. And again, we are in the process of digging more of these things out. We've got a couple in court now, and we're in the process of digging more of them out and looking into it and trying to crank up the enforcement on these things. And with regard to everything that we're doing with the whole housing court mechanism. So
what you're saying is you guys don't have a way to monitor exactly how many illegal short-term rentals through Granicus have been shut down.
Well, they're not shutting anyone down. They don't have the authority to shut anything down. We would have to take the information that they have and they've given us and then ultimately bring that into court.
So I guess that's the question that I'm asking. Okay, so now that you get the information from them, providing what it is that they do, the information that they give you, how effective has it been? So from you, so now we're taking it off of them and now we're putting it on you guys.
The whole process of court. I mean, ultimately, any of the housing court cases that we have, ultimately, there are issues that we have to have them served. There's a certain process that we have to follow with regard to serving people.
Well, I thought we put in that code enforcement could condemn the house. That it was, if they were operating something that was legal, an illegal business, that you still would have to take them to court, but when they found out about it and they found out they were renting, they could, pull occupancy permit.
I think that's not in the short-term rental
So
ordinance.
code enforcement has no teeth to do
Not to
anything?
do that in the short-term rental ordinance, no. I mean, there might be provisions that they may have in various other things where you could, regarding condemnation, but not in the short-term rental ordinance.
Your hands is tied pretty much when it comes down to, especially when it comes down to housing court and everything like that in regards.
It's just the normal process that happens at court. I mean, it's,
Down to evictions and yeah.
There's certain mandates that you have to follow with regard to, defendants' rights and things like that. With regard, there's rules to follow, procedural rules with regard to service. Those are things that, then there's arraignments and further proceedings, and there's a whole, it's not like something's just going to be snap your fingers and everything is shut down.
They're stopping from using that house.
Ordinance, there's nothing that says that particular. I mean, there's a process with regard to licensing, and if someone is operating outside of the scope of what they're supposed to be doing under the ordinance, where they can't be allowed to operate a short-term rental. There's provisions like that in the ordinance, but not where you can just go and say if the building's shut down. There's nothing like that.
Use.
In other ordinances that may be applicable, but not in the short-term rental ordinance.
If there's a dashboard and there's about 15 or so activities that are being tracked in the dashboard, those activities, I would think, could be reported on year-to-date or through a particular time period. Is that a place where we could start so that we can see some data and understand?
I mean, I have access to the dashboard, and anybody, any of the council members can come in and look and see that information if you want to. It'd probably be easier that way because it takes, there's only a few of us that have access to the system itself and all of that too, so.
The contract or the agreement with Granicus, because it's been about a year, right? So is that going to be coming back up for?
I think it was.
It would be good for us to understand that information prior to that.
Available, and then, if the council has questions with regard to anything, you certainly can.
Definitely want to take you up on that, but just so that the public is aware, because this can be an issue. I don't know if the city was if it was in Canada or Montreal or some city where one of these STRs caused the city millions of dollars because this STR owner didn't comply with the housing code and some of the building code. So even though the legal process is legally, I got on good authority that I've seen a stack of illegal STRs about yay big. So I would expect on our dashboard to see not just 2 or 3, or even 15, but I expect to see 30, 40, at least identifiers, because coming to this meeting and before the Granicus, I expected to hear about Granicus being the Air Force and our code enforcement being the military and the Marines. They send you a target, hey, we checked this website, this STR is illegal, go get them. And I've seen a stack of those supposedly illegal STRs, so I'll definitely be interested in seeing that dashboard, because another thing of that is I believe we're losing money from the city, that the code enforcement can be a self-sustaining business just by shutting down illegal STRs. If this business isn't up to the plumbing, electrical, mechanical permits, I've heard throughout the city that there are operators who are not operating legally, and just on that, $2,000 per house alone, per violation, could sustain code enforcement, if not plus what code enforcement needs to sustain this stuff. So I'll definitely would love to sit down and see what we have on that dashboard.
When this was all going on, there was roughly 115 legal short-term rentals and about 325 advertised. So we were not 30 or 40, we were talking a couple hundred.
Sure.
Yeah, we were talking a couple hundred.
So I'm assuming to see the stack of them.
Yeah.
So all in a nutshell, we're pretty much paying money to squish ants.
Because for me, we need to go to the queen. We need to find out what the problem is. But if we're paying, so the problem is there are so many different barriers when it comes down to housing court and things like that you have to go through, and so many different, you know, processes that we have to go through. And so that becomes somewhat the excuse, per se, for Granicus. It's like, yeah, you know, we're doing this, but, you know, we have to do this and then we have to do that. Well, then I think we need to address the bigger processes. So if it's housing court, instead of us pretty much spending tax dollars on Granicus, when they really can't do what they pretty much, what was being announced when they were being hired, let's handle the things that can take some of those shackles off of what they can, if they can do it. But right now, from what I'm looking at, is like we're just getting a couple, you know, a dashboard, but it's not really anything that has been effective, and we're paying them. So until I'm still about the data, and that I don't see that. I feel like we're just paying. So maybe, and I guess what we got is 2 years now. Was it a 2-year contract?
I believe it was 2 years.
So then that's something that we need to really pay attention to and look into, because we shouldn't just be spending money just to spend it. Because after that second year, I'm expecting to see complete results. I'm expecting you to give us some of the list of the other 100, 125, 150 houses that have been operating illegally. That's what we're looking for, because or we would have spent 2 full years of hiring this company and paying them for absolutely nothing, because we'll still be in the same boat that we were when we first started. So that's just my thing. I just want to, you know, I don't see the data.
Throw a little bit out there, just throw it out. Just, I know you guys up in law department are busy as heck. There's no doubt about it. You guys are swamped. I mean, when I started there with 5 attorneys, now there's 2 attorneys. Budget season's coming up. I'd be kind of curious, just as a side note, to what it would cost to like hire a young, just starting out attorney or something like that, to do part-time work to handle just doing something like the housing court or something like that. So it would take it off of your super busy schedule doing other stuff, and maybe getting a young attorney that, you know, wants to get his feet wet.
Do that, and it's difficult to find. They're difficult to find. It is. We've tried to do that.
Their wage, like he says with code enforcement, may very well pay itself. It's got to be somebody young just coming out of law school that wants to get their feet wet.
You'd be surprised.
It's you, Chris. You scare them all away.
Apparently I do. I mean, there were 7 attorneys in the office when I started. So
well, that was like
that's another.
1950. I mean,
thanks, I appreciate that. But nonetheless, I mean, it's you know, it's.
I'd be kind of curious to see what if we can get just like an idea of what that would cost.
Yeah, and I mean, in code, I mean, we're trying to ramp things up to try with code. I mean, we've had issues with difficulty trying to, you know, have people fill in the vacancies up there too. I mean, that's also part of the problem.
I don't think anybody up here is blaming you guys.
No, but I'm just saying.
All
I mean,
of
it's
us
just
up here would love to see this.
I think everybody who's working on this is working on it diligently, and like I said, it's not like it's we're just.
I know we're also short. We're short in code enforcement as well.
Right. Right.
I know that's an issue too. That we're 2 men down, 3 men down.
I think
3 people.
2 and the director, obviously. So
But that's where
three people.
That good transparency comes through, because what happens is you have a constituency of people who are wondering what's going on, and we made a big deal for almost a year and a half about STRs and getting rid of illegal ones, and we're saying, okay, so show me the money. Where is it at? What STRs have been, you know, illegally operating? What have been shut down? And when you have that, because we took a lot of time up here with STRs, and we're not getting, and it's not you, and it's not. It was
before you were on the
council. Yeah, it was definitely before. Right. So, you know, it's a lot of time that we spent on that, and for you know, this company was made to be seen as kind of a cure-all. This is a fix-all. We're going to put this in place, and then we're going to do this, and it's going to set this up, and then we're going to do that. And it's like, okay.
Well, I mean, Councilman, I don't think Granicus is the panacea to solve all the city's problems with regulated things. I mean, we still have things that we deal with internally, like I said, with manpower issues and things like that don't have anything to do with what Granicus is doing. But I mean, again, I think I think we are addressing the problem. I think that it's it's been a process, and I think this is something we started up from the ground up. We had to build up the ordinance and everything else that we were going to do with this whole short-term rental issue. And I think that, again, Granicus does provide us with something that we don't have the internal capability of doing. Plus, they do the licensing and they do the re-registrations that we don't have that capability of doing manpower-wise or technology-wise, and we don't have those capabilities. And we're, again, trying to, within the system that we have, to try to build ourselves up so that we can utilize that information to, again, try to address the issues that you're talking about. And it's like I said, we're working on it, and I think it's going to be fine. And
Well, we got a year, so after next
so-
year, I'll be back.
So-
What's that?
There are other companies like Granite.
Absolutely.
And they've responded to issues that we've brought to them to try to, there are going to be little bumps in the road because we are trying to, use a computer system, and that wasn't something that we were really able to do in a lot of ways here. And they're providing us with a technology aspect of it that we didn't have, and we're trying to work with them and trying to make it all work out. So.
Do they have like some type of time, like a timeline, like within this 2-year span? Do they have like a guarantee of how many that they can actually?
On that, I don't think anything that they're doing is like that. I mean, again, they're providing us with information, and they're not the ones going out. And it'd be great if Granicus had a fleet of code enforcement officers and a fleet of attorneys that can come down and go to court and move these cases along, but that's just something that we don't have.
If I say to you that I can actually provide a service and really make a change in some specific, and this is going to be it, because I'm not going to wear your patience with it, but if I say as a company that I provide this service and I can do this thus and thus for you, it doesn't matter what's around me. At the end of the day, I need to come through, I need to follow through, and I need to make sure that I provide that service while we're paying you. It's not like it's just like a trial and we're going to see if they're going to do something. We're paying them.
Well, I think the Granicus is providing the service that we're, that they're under contract to do. Quite honestly, I mean, they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. So.
Short-term
I
rental.
think the problem we're not have enough manpower, enough people.
So
doing
then
it.
instead of us doing that, then we need to not pay somebody else to just kind of like, fill a position and do something, you know what I mean? Instead of, okay, so we have a problem. It's code enforcement. We need another code enforcement. You need about 5-10 code enforcement officers that can be able to do that. That's fine. Let's do that first instead of saying, okay, let's hire this group of people, but they have different things.
We brought 2 more on, but there's positions that are unfilled, plus we don't have a director. So that's the problem, is we're looking for more people, we just don't have the employees.
What's that? You talking about for code enforcement?
Yeah.
Oh, we have a director for code enforcement.
Oh, yeah, now we do, that's right, I forgot,
Yeah,
right.
I knew about
But
that.
we're missing 2 code enforcement officers.
Right,
We had a
right.
bunch of retirees, plus.
And we never filled that back up.
Plus well, it hasn't been that long, really. And, code enforcement is kind of something that you have to have certain certification. You know what I mean? You gotta have
Right.
certain credentials to do code enforcement. Now, we did create the positions of building inspectors, which aren't code enforcement, but they work out of that department. They are actively working. They're the ones that go out there, and we did them for the long-term rentals and stuff like that. So they're out there writing blight and that sort of stuff up. But code enforcement is short.
Right, and so that the one that we just hired, they can't really go in and do what the actual code enforcement full-fledged
They
code
have
enforcement.
some of the same powers, but they actually can't write a code violation. But they can see a code violation. They, all right,
They can
Dante,
report it.
you're go look at this house. They could be the first set of eyes.
Right. Okay, I'm done.
Mr. Manager, 2 super quick questions. Do you happen to have the numbers of how many legal short-term rentals we have right now? I don't have them. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why. It might be broken. Might be broken. I know. Might be broken. All right. Any better? No, it's over here. Hello? That's weird. You can hear me on a tap. That's weird. Yeah, I don't know. Anyone else? Anyone else got anything? Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you. All right, community happenings.
Got Summerfest August 20th, which is a big car show concert event in Hyde Park that raises money for the Niagara Falls Firefighters Toy Fund. It should be a nice year again this year, so hopefully a lot of people come out.
This is our last meeting for the Community Youth Day in Gluck Park, so that's next month, August 19th, 12 to 7 p.m.
There is an event at the aquarium on Friday. I cannot find the information, but I believe it starts at 1 o'clock. It's a free event. It has some concerts and some stuff.
Party on the patio.
Party on the patio. Thank you. Right out in their open area, so it's open to anyone in the city who wants to stop by this Friday.
Bring your umbrella.
This Friday, the 28th, and I believe it starts at 1 o'clock. Let me see if I can just find that information for you. My apologies. Yes, 1 o'clock. Oh no, July 28th, this Friday. Oh, is it really? I did not know that. All right, so August 2nd at the aquarium, $3 admission. Good community happenings there. Okay, review the agenda items.
Agenda item number 1. Agenda item number 2. Agenda item number 3. Agenda item number 4. Agenda item number 5. Agenda item number 6.
I would like a motion to just table it because.
Not
Oh,
now.
no, that's the.
That's when we do the meeting. Right now it's just review.
Okay.
Agenda item number 7. Agenda item number 8. Agenda item number 9.
Question for the controller. I got word that the money for agenda item number 9 is not for the agenda item number 8. Is that your understanding as well?
It's my understanding that these two do go together, that you're buying the vehicle and you're then buying the, what goes with it.
That's what I thought, but I got word from the administration that it wasn't related. Just wanted to check that. Thanks.
Agenda item number 10. Agenda.
Because I've been getting calls and texts and things like that in regards to just give people understanding of what it is. There was a point in time, and this is for our seeking legal counsel outside of, in regards to the eminent domain process. We wanted to rescind, and a few of us, we tried to rescind the whole process, just so we can kind of like get, pretty much an idea of whatever NFR was offering. And when we made that, it was brought to our attention that there were legality flaws in the, in the offer and so on and so forth. None of us up here are versed in law. None of us are lawyers or attorneys. So it only made sense for us to get what my colleague, Councilwoman Bax said, a second set of eyes to just look over this so we can see what it is that's being offered. Now, I wish people would kind of pay attention to the bigger picture. The bigger picture is that we spend tens and tens of thousands of dollars already on an eminent domain process, and we're still spending to this day dollars of taxpayers on the eminent domain process. So for me, I've been saying this from day one, I would wish that we would just stop the whole process, really focus on some of the other issues that we have in Niagara Falls, other horrible issues that we deal with, but we're spending a lot of money. So being that, okay, there's an offer, and if there was something told, if it was some type of legality flaw that was in their offer, we want somebody that knows the law to look at the offer and to be able to tell us, here's what it is, or no, it's not a legality flaw. You can move forward, and then we can have the administration sit down within that fire and kind of come up with something instead of continuously spending our tax dollars on attorneys and lawyers that and no one, you know what I mean? That's the biggest thing. So understanding this is why we're seeking, and it's pennies on the dollars in comparison to what we're spending on this eminent domain process in the first place. So I want to make sure that we're getting all of the right information out, not the social media hoorah and all of the other stuff that's going on. At the end of the day, we're making decisions. We have to sit up here and make decisions that's on the better interest of our city and the whole community at large. So that's why we're seeking legal counsel outside, and it's not nowhere near as much as we're paying for than what we're paying already for this eminent domain process that could run years. We were looking for a court, an answer from the court in what, June? And guess what? We kicked the can down the road again. I said, I talked to you before. We kicked the can down the road, and guess what? It's gonna go a couple of more months, and then who knows how long it'll take. So instead of continuously paying all this money for eminent domain, our thing is that let's hire legal counsel to look at the report. They can tell us if it's a legal flaw or anything that's in it, and then if we can move forward so we're not hiding things from the people. So that's why.
A quick clarification. So this is actually, I believe, our third set of eyes on the agreement. So I did, say that it's good to have good to have lawyers look at it. It is the third set of eyes. We do have two expert opinions on the contract itself. We had an executive session, and I think, were we all there? Or, I'm not sure okay. We were all. I think, yes, and Councilman Miles, I believe you were not there, but the four of us were there for those two, or for the one other opinion, then we did receive a second other opinion. So just want to clarify so everybody knows we do have two expert opinions already, based on this. But I do have a question for, I'm not sure if it's for Mr. Mazur or for Mr. Morello. I've heard two different amounts as to what's been allocated for this particular agenda item for the outside counsel, Mr. Palumbo. I've heard 6,000, 6,000 to 7,000, and I've heard 26,000. So can you clarify how much we have allocated in the budget line for this particular item?
Well, first off, the item itself lists that there's a $6,000 retainer for Mr. Palumbo. So the retainer that needs to be presented is $6,000. And then essentially depending on what's going on, you kind of deduct from that based on how many hours it'll actually take in reviewing the information.
And then the scope of the work is simply this agreement to evaluate and to provide to us, or the council, their recommendations on the agreement itself and the confines of that. Okay.
The settlement number.
Outside of that scope, would it have to come back to this council for vote to move forward?
If it's going to be not related to that, yes, it would. So.
Things. Will our attorney, the council attorney retired, be able to speak with the NFR attorneys?
Supposed to be advising you. The way I understand it, he's supposed to be advising you. I mean, he's not conducting any kind of negotiation or anything like that. It would just be more or less if he's just acquiring information at that point. But he's not going to negotiate some kind of agreement. He's basically advising you on the proposal that's out there already.
That agreement is already existing. And a question, I think it would probably go to you, Dan, in regards to what Dante was saying. Right now, with our eminent domain case in Hodgkins, who we're dealing with, we're kind of neutral. We're not spending any money right now because we're all just sitting back waiting on the answer from the court.
I haven't seen any of the invoices recently come through, but that's.
I mean, right now, there's nothing moving. Chris, you would probably, right now, we're just kind of all in limbo until we get.
There was argument at the appellate division. We're waiting for the decision from
So
the.
right now, we're kind of neutral, just waiting. We're not spending money, we're just waiting on the court to say yay or nay.
Correct.
Mr. Mayor, correct me if I'm wrong, in theory, in that sense, like when we had our session with Mr. Spitzer and any calls the administration may make or we may make, we get billed for that, right? I'm sorry, this microphone. We get billed for any time we call Mr. Spitzer or when we have our meetings with him, correct?
So, yes. Yeah.
Absorbent amounts of money as we were like in the court hearing, but we're still spending money. Okay. Right, with the, yeah.
But this is not how
What?
Oh, absolutely not. So basically, and there's so we retained them for $6,000, and then it's pretty much as needed. So it's not like they're getting paid every week or they get. It's like if we need information from them, we gave them a retainer, and then when we need them, then we reach out to them.
They will be researching the proposal, so we'll be built from that. Right. You know, when they read that proposal and they write us or reply to what they feel, that's all.
Right.
According to what they're doing. I mean, that's and they'll invoice us. They'll provide an invoice for what they've done.
Like, if we call up and we have a 5-minute conversation with you, is it an hour or is it?
That's how they do it. It says that in the agreement.
I was always curious how they.
No, not like if they talk to you for 5 minutes, it's an hour. It's not like that. So.
The can of worms on this side. I mean, since we opened it on this item, I just want to take I don't want to insult anybody's intelligence, but I want to get to why we need this lawyer, because we shouldn't have to have this lawyer. Let's take a jet tour just quickly. So we got NFR who's had this property for 30 years for whatever reason. Now we have to ask ourselves, why haven't they developed in 30 years? Have they been sitting on their hands and not doing anything? Or have they tried and the city has, let's just say, put a cog in a machine and disrupted it? That's one question we got to ask ourselves. Why haven't they built in over 30 years? And then that leads us to where we are in 2021 when they came forth. I haven't seen anything else contrary to this. They came first with a client that said, we want to build a data center. Months later, the city comes with an eminent domain procedure. Does anybody follow what I make sure? Because I don't want to insult anybody's intelligence or why we're here, but the Urbicon came with an idea first. So somebody said, we want to build there. And then the city says, oh, we want to take that land. So now we're in eminent domain proceedings. So now NFR, Urbicon, however you want to say it, they came back and said, let us build here. And this is before me and Dave and fellow council members, only usually, but council members started talking with NFR. Well, before we even did that, they said, if you let us keep this land, we will give you this land and money. So that should have been a negotiation between NFR Urbicon's legal people and our legal people. Why didn't that happen? Months later, months go by, things go by, nothing happens. Next thing you know, we're saying we're spending money on this eminent domain procedure, not getting anything for it. We're rolling up, number one, we have to pay for our lawyers, pay for the court fees. Number two, we have to pay for the land. Number three, we have to pay to get it built. Number four, we have to pay to get it ran. The city's getting more and more into debt. We're saying, okay, this eminent domain, let's stop it. Hey, Mayor, can we sit down and discuss this agreement that we got from NFR? Does the administration want to sit down with us? No. I don't want to be cute anymore. No. I want the legislative branch and the executive branch to sit down together with our council and discuss the agreement that's on the table. Do we want it? Do we not want it? Why don't we want it? Why do we want it? Go back and forth, sit down, talk. We work with our outside counsel who's already in this. They present that to NFR and Urbicon, and we have that negotiation back and forth. But because the legislative branch and the executive branch can't sit down, won't sit down with us and discuss the agreement, we got to go out and get our own outside counsel.
I'm going to make the last remarks on this, and then if we can take a 5-minute recess, one of the council members needs to use the laboratory. Just to clarify what Councilmember Cawley said, it's been made evident to us and per the charter that the administration is the one that does the negotiations. So having this attorney look over the current settlement that has been sent over is something, as two of my colleagues have said, It's just good governance on our part, just to double check what has been told to us, and then obviously have the conversation with the administration going forward so they can then negotiate with NFR. Okay? And do we need a motion, Chris? Yes. Okay. If we can take a 5-minute recess, we will be right back. It's 5 minutes. Okay, thank you everyone for your time. We are back to our meeting.
Agenda item number 11. Agenda item number 12. Agenda item number 13. Agenda item number 14. Agenda item number 15. Agenda item number 16. Agenda item number 17. Agenda item number 18. Agenda item number 19. Agenda item number 20. Agenda item number 21. Agenda item number 22. Agenda item number 23. Agenda item number 24. Agenda item number 25. Agenda item number 26. And agenda item number 27.
Again, want to just, my fellow colleagues, just keep in mind that a positive declaration means that we believe that there is something in the environmental assessment that we disagree on, or that we need more information on, or that we think will harm the environment. They submitted the documents. I went over this the last time this came up. I read the report, the noise, everybody's concerned about the noise. Quality of life, I'm 100% on it. But they gave a full, detailed noise report. This company, this is our chance to, instead of people say, it's time for Niagara Falls to pull itself up. Well, bringing this company in, allowing this company to operate, giving this, we can't do the negative declaration today, but to vote this down would be to allow Niagara Falls to bring businesses in. This company did a thorough noise test report. They submitted it to us. They gave us a full report. There is no reason to give them a positive declaration. This is the seeker process. We are the lead agency. This is in the seeker process. We're doing it. Part of that is the FEAF, and part of that is giving it a positive or negative declaration. They addressed the noise concerns. They mitigated them to awesome level, to a great level. And I don't work for them. Nothing to do with them. But I can read data. I can read reports. I can read. And they submitted all this information. This company, there's no reason to give this company a positive declaration. And I just take this into consideration as we vote on this. This should be a no. But people, of course, people can vote their own ways. But I'm just giving you the data, the evidence, the facts, the report as we vote forward on this. Thank you.
Agenda item number 1, received and filed. Agenda item number 2, approval of Commissioner of Deeds appointments. Councilmember Bax.
Yes.
Councilmember Cawley.
Yes.
Councilmember Miles.
Yes.
Councilmember Tompkins.
Yes.
Council Chairman Zajac.
Yes.
This item has been approved. Agenda item number 3, approval of the contract to Benovate Inc. for the purchase of Neighborly Software's Housing, Economic, and Community Development hosted software program for the City of Niagara Falls Department of Community Development.
Move it.
Call the roll.
Councilmember Bax.
Yes.
Councilmember Cawley.
Let's hope this is not another granted case, but I believe it won't be. Yes.
Councilmember Miles.
Yes.
Councilmember Tompkins.
Yes.
Council Chairman Zajac.
Yes.
This item has been approved. Agenda item number 4, approval of the sale of 462 10th Street to Ursula Zooks in the amount of $900.
Call the roll.
Councilmember Bax.
Yes.
Councilmember Cawley.
Yes.
Councilmember Miles.
Yes.
Councilmember Tompkins.
Yes.
Council Chairman Zajac.
Yes.
This item has been approved. Agenda item number 5, approval of the contract with Total Administration Services Corporation, dependent eligibility audit.
Call the roll.
Councilmember Bax.
Yes.
Councilmember Cawley.
Yes.
Councilmember Miles.
Yes.
Councilmember Tompkins.
Yes.
Council Chairman Zajac.
Yes.
This item has been approved. Agenda item number 6, approval of asphalt art project Niagara Falls National Heritage Area.
Only reason why, and like I said, is because we are the last group that's going to be here to make this decision. I want to make sure I'm making the decision that I can sleep with at night. So I'm motioning to table it.
Second.
Okay, Councilmember Bax.
Yes.
Councilmember Cawley.
Yes.
Councilmember Miles.
Yes.
Councilmember Tompkins.
My colleagues feel this strongly. I'll go with them. Yes.
And Council Chairman Zajac.
Yes.
This item has been approved. A motion to table it. So it's being tabled. Agenda item number 7, approval of the contract with the Niagara Falls School District Billing Collection School Taxes 2023 to 2024.
Call the roll.
Councilmember Bax.
Yes.
Councilmember Cawley.
Yes.
Councilmember Miles.
Yes.
Councilmember Tompkins.
I do work for the school district, but this has nothing to do with my job, so I vote yes.
Council Chairman Zajac.
Yes.
This item has been approved. Agenda item number 8, approval of the contract to Falls Dodge Incorporated for fleet vehicles for the Niagara Falls Police Department. Councilmember Bax?
Yes.
Councilmember Cawley?
Yes.
Councilmember Miles?
Yes.
Councilmember Tompkins?
Yes.
Council Chairman Zajac?
Yes.
This item has been approved. Agenda item number 9, approval of the contract of Empire Emergency Apparatus for the upfitting of Niagara Falls is the Police Department 2023 Black Dodge Charger Fleet Vehicle.
Call the roll.
Councilmember Bax?
Yes.
Councilmember Cawley?
Just as a quick, and this may be not a big deal, but should the 2022 and item 8 be a 2023? Yeah, under agenda item number 8, should that be a 2023 Dodge Charger, or should agenda item number 9 be a 2022 Dodge Charger?
You know, if the 2022 is held over, I don't know if it's, I'm not sure. I would assume it's probably a 2020, it said 2022, so I'm assuming that's probably what it said.
As far as I know. Moved it.
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember Miles?
Yes.
Councilmember Tompkins?
Yes.
Council Chairman Zajac? This item has been approved. Agenda item number 10, approval of the contract of proposed retainer for Jeff Palumbo Esquire of the law firm of Block, Longo, Lamarco, and Brzezinski, P.C. to advise the City Council relative to the eminent domain proceeding that the council authorized when it adopted Resolution 2022-74 held on November 22nd, 22. Councilmember Bax?
Yes.
Councilmember Cawley?
Yes.
Councilmember Miles?
Yes.
Councilmember Tompkins?
No.
Council Chairman Zajac?
Yes.
This item has been approved, 4 yeas, 1 nay. Agenda item number 11, approval of reallocation of tribal compact revenue pursuant to state finance law, section 99H. Councilmember Bax?
Yes.
Councilmember Cawley?
Yes.
Councilmember Miles?
Yes.
Councilmember Tompkins?
Yes.
Council Chairman Zajac?
Yes.
This item has been approved. Agenda item number 12, approval of the contract with Niagara Falls City School District School Resource Officers. Councilmember Bax?
Yes.
Councilmember Cawley?
Yes.
Councilmember Miles?
Yes.
Councilmember Tompkins?
Same as number 7. I work for the schools, but does not affect my job, so yes.
Council Chairman Zajac?
Yes.
This item has been approved. Agenda item number 13, approval of the contract with Niagara Tourism and Convention Corp. For parking at 105 Rainbow Boulevard lot.
Call the roll.
Councilmember Bax?
Yes.
Councilmember Cawley?
Yes.
Councilmember Miles?
Yes.
Councilmember Tompkins?
Yes.
Council Chairman Zajac?
Yes.
This item has been approved. Agenda item number 14, approval of the contract with the Niagara County Industrial Development Agency Project Manager Services for Department of Economic Development. Councilmember Bax?
Yes.
Councilmember Cawley?
Heard this would be a good fit to help us develop projects. Yes.
Councilmember Miles?
Yes.
Councilmember Tompkins?
Yes.
Council Chairman Zajac?
Yes.
This item has been approved. Agenda item number 15, approval of the contract to retain Milliman, Inc. for actuarial equivalence testing.
Call the roll.
Councilmember Bax?
Yes.
Councilmember Cawley?
Yes.
Councilmember Miles?
Yes.
Councilmember Tompkins? Council Chairman Zajac? This item has been approved. Agenda item number 16, 2023 General Assessment Roll. That's received and filed. Agenda item number 17, approval to install overnight parking on Frontier Avenue, 86th Street and 87th Street on the north side only, with a no standing anytime restriction on the south side of the street.
Call the roll.
Councilmember Bax?
Yes.
Councilmember Cawley?
Yes.
Councilmember Miles?
Yes.
Councilmember Tompkins?
Yes.
Council Chairman Zajac?
Yes.
This item has been approved. Agenda item number 18, approval to install a 5 feet handicap access space in front of 603 37th Street.
Call the roll.
Councilmember Bax?
Yes.
Councilmember Cawley?
Yes.
Councilmember Miles?
Yes.
Councilmember Tompkins?
Yes.
Council Chairman Zajac?
Yes.
This item has been approved. Agenda item number 19, approval to install a 5-feet handicap access space in front of 1825 Willow Avenue.
Call the roll.
Councilmember Bax?
Yes.
Councilmember Cawley?
Yes.
Councilmember Miles?
Yes.
Councilmember Tompkins?
Yes.
Council Chairman Zajac?
Yes.
This item has been approved. Agenda item number 20, approval to install a 5-feet handicap access space in front of 2405 Willow Avenue.
Call the roll.
Councilmember Bax?
Yes.
Councilmember Cawley?
Yes.
Councilmember Miles?
Yes.
Councilmember Tompkins?
Yes.
Council Chairman Zajac?
Yes.
This item has been approved. Agenda item number 21, approval to install autistic child area signs in advance of 421 56th Street, both directions. Councilmember Bax?
Yes.
Councilmember Cawley?
Yes.
Councilmember Miles?
Yes.
Councilmember Tompkins?
Yes.
Council Chairman Zajac?
Yes.
This item has been approved. Agenda item number 22, approval of install autistic child area signs in advance of 3663 Chapin Avenue, both directions.
Call the roll.
Councilmember Bax?
Yes.
Councilmember Cawley?
Yes.
Councilmember Miles?
Yes.
Councilmember Tompkins?
Yes.
Council Chairman Zajac?
Yes.
This item has been approved. Agenda item number 23, approval to install no standing anytime signs effective from Monday through Thursday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. in front of 567 74th Street. Councilmember Bax?
Yes.
Councilmember Cawley?
Yes.
Councilmember Miles?
Yes.
Councilmember Tompkins?
Yes.
Council Chairman Zajac?
Yes.
This item has been approved. Agenda item number 24, approval to install a 5-feet handicap access space in front of 1010 Hyde Park Boulevard.
Call the roll.
Councilmember Bax?
Yes.
Councilmember Cawley?
Yes.
Councilmember Miles?
Yes.
Councilmember Tompkins?
Yes.
Council Chairman Zajac?
Yes.
This item has been approved. Agenda item number 25, approval to install alternate overnight parking on Penn Street between Garfield and Lafayette Avenues. Councilmember Bax?
Yes.
Councilmember Cawley?
Yes.
Councilmember Miles?
Yes.
Councilmember Tompkins?
Yes.
Council Chairman Zajac?
Yes.
This item has been approved. Agenda item number 26, informational item, denied various requests received and filed. Agenda item number 27, relative to the City Council secret determination of significance concerning the applications of Northeast Data LLC for a data center and digital asset mining facility at 5380 Frontier Avenue, Niagara Falls, New York.
Call the roll.
Councilmember Bax?
This resolution does provide a pathway forward for block fusion. I vote yes.
Councilmember Cawley?
People always say, Vincent, you vote no a lot. Because if a business wanted to dump garbage here, hey, Vincent, let us dump garbage anywhere in your city for $1 billion. You know what I'd say? No, because that's quality of life. That would be an issue. But with this particular program, this could end up being a lawsuit for us when we could just let them proceed forth with a negative declaration and let them move forward through the regular process, because by us doing the positive, they would essentially have to submit the same information, but what would that get them? They've done what they needed to do to provide the environmental, from the water, the soil, the noise, everything. It's all contained in a document, an FTP site that they sent us. They gave us that information, and in that case, that's why I vote no.
Councilmember Miles?
In that same manner, we allow other businesses to operate that hasn't provided a fraction of what we need to be satisfied as a body. So with them doing their due diligence to make sure that they did everything that they needed to do when we had the noise ordinance, they did it. When we had, the soil and all of the environmental, they did exactly what they need to do. It's sickening for our city to continuously put red tape and hoops for businesses to jump through. I believe they're sustainable. I believe that they're trying to be good business partners with the city of Niagara Falls. So absolutely, I vote no.
Councilmember Tompkins?
If they've done all this data and all this research, it should be real easy for them to get through the seeker. I vote yes to protect our citizens.
Council Chairman Zajac,
Yes.
this item has been approved, 3 yeas, 2 nays. And that's it. Good of the community speakers, our first speaker is Lucinda Burnett.
I came here to thank yous and actually thank the mayor for coming up with a solution to the problem that was behind my businesses on 3rd Street. The mayor made a suggestion, the city council approved it, they've implemented that plan, it started, and I can't thank yous enough. My wife can't thank yous enough. Believe me, I can't thank you that my wife is happy enough. So, and I want to make reference for the good of my community to something Mr. Cully said about a fire that happened in Montreal, Quebec. 7 people were killed in an illegal short-term rental. The province and the city and everybody's running for cover now. Nobody wants to take the blame for it. They're blaming Airbnb. This is bound to happen in our city sooner or later. If you go on the computer, you don't have to be a Granicus to look at the illegal short-term rentals in our city. People advertise a 3rd floor. They advertise a basement. That's against fire code. How come our fire department's not involved in that? I don't understand this. If we have 300 short-term rentals, let's say 100 of them are permitted. I can guarantee you that 65 of that 100 are running against fire code. Once this inspector leaves, they open up the 3rd floor, they open up the cellar, they add bedrooms, add beds in living rooms and kitchens. Just go online, you can see it. A 10-year-old kid could identify them. And as far as Granicus goes, I was finally able to get on and register my things. I'm number 1, 2, and 3 in the Granicus list. So I also want to help the head of code enforcement get his listed too, so that I don't know if they're helping other people who can't get on Granicus to redo their permits now or not, but I know how to do it. So I mean, if anybody needs help, I'd be glad to help them. But I'm glad that you said that about that fire, and I'm glad that, Kenny, you've been working on this for years and it ain't gotten any better. You know, I mean, I know you're trying to do your best. I know the mayor absolutely wants to fix this problem too, and I know this council does. So please, if you need somebody to do it, I'll do it for free. I'll do it for free. Pay me for everybody that I catch. You make me a millionaire. So thanks again, council, and thanks to mayor for helping us with our problem on 3rd Street. And I look forward to doing business here for many more years. Have a good night.
Jennifer Lamoy.
And that's something, my son gets excited for me to get up and speak, but you just don't even have the into you, you know, especially since when you're running for an office and you're the only one running for city council that speaks at these meetings. I do thank Councilman Miles for the past miles that you did put up here. Isn't it lovely how y'all get to talk for an unlimited amount of time, and we sit here and we can't hear a word that you're saying, especially those that are facing in the opposite direction. We live on such a beautiful planet, but in such an ugly world. Constituents' hands are tied pretty much. Never let a situation or a person stress you out, especially me, because situations can be changed and people can be replaced. Constituents are sick and tired of our administration not being held accountable for their actions. And yes, I mean our mayor and our city administrator. However, homeowners, please keep paying your please keep paying your taxes, but also remember the first set of garbage fees, yes, garbage fees that we double pay for, are due Monday, July 31st. Just so y'all know, I like that wording, Councilman Cawley. That's very transparent. I wish that our mayor and city mayor administrator would say that in such these texts that are done. And that's the thing, going back to that incident a week ago today, think of it as if it was one of your children, correct? Those of you that have children up there. These text messages that are asking you like little questions. I did send you email correspondence on it, and I was directed to contact the mayor and the city administrator, but yet I was told previously that they never have an interest in speaking to me or any other member of the community that takes interest in providing good, decent amount of change to the community. I only can hope, again, just stressing this, that our consistently absent administration could demonstrate such appropriateness. Can you imagine if they stood up and said, just so y'all know, that would be just so nice, but stands out well for you for reelection. I support such. Councilman Miles, if I may restate and enhance your reference to barriers, when will they ever come down? Not referring to you guys, but I pointed it out years ago, remember? Those barricades. Subject matters discussed today required the presence of our administration. I've researched the topic Councilman Tompkins brought up with respect to, if I go down here, it's called like law clerks, I think it is. But anyway, the Western District of New York Federal Public Defender's Office for Rochester and Buffalo, I'm sure maybe you might know, Mr. Mayor, if you're listening, seeks on an annual basis volunteer law clerks, volunteer, not paid. So it's not like how much is going to cost us. This is experience that they get credit for. Wouldn't cost our city a dime. As we know, we're spending unnecessary amount of taxpayer funds as it is. Look into such, Mr. Mayor, if you heard me speaking. Speaking of hiring people, when positions are available in our city that certifications are not required for, said new hires are appointed into said positions without being required to be interviewed. Yeah, that's true. Lots of announcements of partying going on, but not much resolution for our constituents. With respect to the mayor's dream of Centennial Park, NFR has done everything legally. You see? Legally. Our city council is all in attendance today. Be transparent, I dare you. Say where our mayor is this evening. Say it if you will.
Is our finance speaker.
Hello. Hi, Helen Kress on Weston Avenue. I hate to do this, but I have to complain a little bit. In January, there was an incident at my house where then in February, a few weeks later, I submitted a claim to the legal department, and I know they're very busy. I know the legal department is very busy with huge cases. They're understaffed, but $800 is a lot to me. And from the time I submitted it, there's been no update at all. I don't know if it's dismissed, working on it, what's going on. I call every week at this point. So, I mean, just a letter of what the status of it is would be nice. Also, regarding that case, I thought of an issue. So it's damage from the police breaking into my house. I hope that the police is using current, accurate data to know who is in each residence, as best they can, right? So if somebody walks by a house and says, oh, an elderly lady's in there and she might be dead, the police could look up and say, no, 58 is not elderly. So calm down. We're gonna try to figure out what could be a possible scenario, okay? I better not say more about the case because you're investigating it, but please, this has cost me a lot of heartache, and $800 is a lot when taxes are $4,000. And finally, it is very important to double check what every mayor is doing, but also please keep in mind that in a tourist area, downtown tourist area, is a stupid place for a data center, even if a park is being next to it, okay? So just keep that in mind when you're getting extra opinions, okay? Thank you, good night. 2965 Weston Avenue. In broad daylight, and I'm only 58. I was at work.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure we had that down.
Thank you.
For your time tonight. The weather is turning poorly, so please get home safely. Please remember those community happenings, and again, thank you for coming out. Meeting adjourned.